Let me start again with a mic on. So, sorry about that. Thanks for joining me here today, Friday afternoon, 2:30. My name's Todd Rains. You're in my shop, at least I am, and you're joining me here. And we're streaming to Facebook and YouTube, and also StreamYard. And StreamYard gives you a direct link to the webinar with an email registration. So thanks again for the thumbs up or the help on the muted mic. I had it off as I went into the house last minute. So good to have everyone here, Michael and Tony and Cindy and David. So thanks for joining. So let me back up a little bit here. Michael joined a little earlier this afternoon. So thanks, Michael, for joining, and David Perez. And we've got Cindy's on. Thank you for joining. And Ron and our friend Tony from down in San Antonio. And yes, no sound. Okay, we got sound back. So Chuck Broder, thanks. Got the bowls yesterday. Chuck won the 2 bowls I turned in my last demo, the bowl turning orientation and techniques. Glad you got them. It took me a week to get them out because I was finishing the video editing first. And I had to sand off just a little bit and sign the bottoms. So glad you have them, Tony. Sorry, Chuck. Just saw Tony's. There we go. Perfect. Yeah. Got it. Roy Walker, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Another local. And Philip from across the pond, thanks for joining, Philip. Appreciate to have you here. And we've got, just a few more people. Thank you for joining, everybody. This is great. Roger from Missouri, thank you for joining. Jim Hurst, sorry. Can't read that correctly. So there we go. Mary Alice, thanks for joining. Good to see you here, and good to have you join the live stream. So, all right, I've got one more, Jim from Delaware. So thanks for joining, Jim. And let's see, Terry Quillam, almost missed that one. And Gerald, so lots of people joining today. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So today's topic is something I spotted on Instagram a little bit ago. This is just a still capture, but let me know in the comments if you guys checked out the Instagram guy, Limba Trip. Put a comment as, yeah, I saw him, and I'd be interested to know what you guys think of that sort of technique. Limba Trip, he does the Limba music, but also these sort of spinning marker designs. He calls them Shoda art. Shoda, I think, is a Japanese term for calligraphy, Japanese calligraphy. And so I kind of called it spinning Shoda art. I don't know. I don't think he has a term for it. I don't know what to call it. But it's kind of cool. And so check that out. Go to Instagram. It's on YouTube as well. So YouTube or Instagram at limbatrip.com or at limbatrip in either one of those social media apps. And they're little short videos showing him doing this kind of design. And that's kind of what inspired me today in trying to put this kind of design on a spinning top. So that's what we're looking at today. I'm going to also talk about most people I've seen spinning tops do it one way. I'm going to do it a different way. It's just something I picked up along my learning. So if you turn your top this way or another way, let me know. Do you do the point first or the handle first? And that's basically the difference. So I tend to do the handle first and then part off at the point. That gives me access to the top of the spinning top to do some decoration. A little more difficult when it's back behind the top, the spinning end, or the pointy end. So I've kind of given away the whole show already, what we're going to do. So if that's all you wanted, you're free to go. But if you want to stick around, I'm going to turn a top, and then I've got a few blanks set up with white painted on the end here. So if I get down and small, so take a look at that. So this top blank is on here. I've got paint on the end just to simply give it more contrast for the camera view. And I put it on the flat here because we're going to do some practice first, and then I'll turn this to a top. We'll paint that, and then we'll do some more blanks with different designs. And I've got one here somewhat completed, and that's it's kind of a junky one, but it's practice, and so that's kind of what we're going to do. And you'll see when this spins, it kind of gives a funny effect, very similar to what Shota art does. So let's see, just checking up on comments. So I think we're caught up. A few more people joined, Paul and Martin and Ken. So thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate it. So let's go ahead and actually do one to kind of get an idea of what the design is like. And what I've had to do to get this to spin slow enough is put my lathe into low gear. So it's in low gear. So when I turn it on, it's turning, good God, I don't even know, 50, between 25 and 50 RPM. So it's pretty slow. And it's slow enough that I can get my marker to kind of work that way. And I'm using just standard sort of Sharpie markers or whatever these are called, Grand and Toy. I don't even know if they have that store anymore. Barrel liquid tip. So anyway, so these are red and blue, kind of mimicking the colors on the on that thing up there. So that's kind of what we're going to work with today. So so the idea is you've got a spinning surface, you got a flat surface or a semi-flat surface to paint on, and we'll, to be honest, I haven't done this on an actual top yet. So that's what we're going to learn today. Is this worthwhile? The one thing I do know is having this diameter, which is probably 1.5 inches, inch and 5/8 thereabouts, is a little limited in terms of its size. So a bigger top would be better. For example, I've got this sycamore blank that's a bit bigger, and we'll look at that one too. Do some practice on that one. So, so how do we start? So I did a little bit of practice with this yesterday, and so we're going to try and do some of that here today. I'm going to use the tool rest as a sort of a handhold position, if you will. And so we're just going to draw a little circle in the middle, just to kind of pretend that's kind of where the stem of the handle is on the top. And so from there, we're going to draw another circle, but maybe not on center. So this takes a bit of practice. It's kind of like moving your hand in and out as you draw that circle off center. Doesn't always work out, so we may have to just go with what we got here. So now we got a circle going off center. So if we speed that up a little bit, it kind of looks like it's going off center, which is kind of cool. So now what we want to do, and I've found that doing this part with the lathe off is easier. If you watch Limba Trip on Instagram or YouTube, you'll see he does it with his flat platform spinning and stuff like that. And he's obviously done thousands of these, so he's got practice. I don't. So what I'm going to do is I just want to see what that looks like again. So on the low parts, I'm going to, I guess the low parts being the parts that are closer to the center on those circle. And on the high parts, I'll make some marks around this perimeter. So I'm going to do that kind of mark, that kind of mark. And we'll see what that kind of makes. So now we got that kind of going around and around. Kind of looks a little funky. I don't know. This is just kind of making up your design as you go. I'm going to circle that with red. Right there. So now we got, and I'll slow that down a little bit. You can kind of see my frames per second on the video is maybe not picking that up quite as well as it could have, but you kind of get the idea of what you can do there. So now, can we do one, speed all the way down? Maybe we try it with a little bit of lathe speed on. I only got 4 of them at that speed, so you have to be pretty quick. So now we got little feet going around on the outside with that little So that's kind of the general idea. I think I'll leave that one the way it is. So I don't know what you guys think. I think it's got some possibilities in terms of design, having things offside, and it's just an experiment to see what can be done. So, Glenn, good afternoon. Thanks for being here. A bit late, but you're checked in. So we're doing spinning tops. This is a practice one to kind of work out the design. So we can maybe stop that and fix those red marks a little bit, and just kind of tighten those up a little bit all the way to the edge. And then maybe, do we need one on the inside? We'll get a bit more color there. That looks all right. What if we go reverse? What does that do? All right, kind of funky. Kind of funky. I like it. So that's a lot of fun. I'm going to fix up the blue here. There's little legs. I got this one kind of thick. So I'll fix up these other ones out to the red. That one looks pretty good. All right. Trippy. Trippy, that's what it is. Let's see. Robert says, very cool. Yeah, I think it's kind of a cool idea. It's going to take some work, but we'll get there. Markers I'm using, Terry, just some standard sort of red fat markers. Grandin Toy, I don't know where that's from. I don't know if this is this is from a Canadian store. So I've had this one for a long time. Barrel, liquid tip, permanent markers, chisel tips. So chisel tips will work. I've got some Prismacolors. Look over that comment in the drawer that I hadn't pulled out yet, but these are kind of fun. So whatever you have in your shop, could be markers like this, could be maybe, I don't know if you could do it with a paintbrush. I'm not quite sure, but chisel tip markers on a smooth surface. So that's one thing I've done is I've cleaned this surface off really well. I put some paint on it and then sanded that back just a little bit with 240. So it's nice and smooth. It allows the ink to flow and a little bit smoother in the way it looks. So, Bonnie, hey, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. We're doing spinning tops with funky designs like this. So now we got that one done. Let's cut that off and make a spinning top. So and then we'll get to the point where we prep that surface again. If you have really blonde wood, like this is actually quite blonde. This is I think this is box elder, so it's a very kind of light maple-ish color, if you will. And so that would work well with just colors on the bare wood. They show up fairly well. We'll see. I just make a few marks here. Nice and dark blue and a nice bright red. So those would show up well on the, in fact, let's just also do something here just to, why not? We're here, so make a spiral. I'm just showing you really what the colors look like and how well they show up. So not too bad. Look, the red looks a little orange. I think it's old, but that's kind of the idea. So we're now going to turn this into a top, and I want to kind of explain first of all, if I look at this top, a lot of people would typically put the point down here, turn the top, then turn the handle like that. I'm going to do it this way, where I turn the handle, turn the top, and then turn the point off. So 2 ways of doing your top, this way or this way. This way I kind of learned with Alan Lacer, learning the skew. So we're going to do it this way. What this does give me is this surface that I want to see here is it's going to give it to me. Wrong way, Todd. There we go. It's going to give it to me here. So I can get to this surface from this side. If I did it this way, then I couldn't get to this surface. It'd have to be back here. So one thing, you guys couldn't see it on the camera because I don't have a camera pointed that way right now. And the other thing is it's hard to get in there with a marker and mark things. So I like doing it this way because you can get to the top of the part that you're going to see when it's spinning. Easy access to it that way. So there we go. Just checking on questions. Got that one. And Jim is saying, I think you need another offset circle inside the red. And so in here or offset circle inside the red. In here, I don't know if I can do it inside there. That's pretty small. We could try it though. Might as well try it because it's just wasted otherwise. So, all right, Jim, you got it. We might as well do it while we got it here. So Robert says, I just looked up limit trip and he definitely elevates this to a high level. Worth taking. Yeah, I agree. It's kind of, I don't know. Obviously, thousands of times practicing that, but it's an interesting little thing he has. It's basically it's a very, very well operating lazy Susan, if you will. The ones you buy for the stores for your cupboards and stuff probably aren't going to work that well. This one's on very slick bearings, and it probably looks about a 10-inch platter maybe that he's got, and then from there on top he's got white whiteboard, erasable whiteboard stuff. So whatever that be, it could be laminate, it could be a plastic of some sort. I'm not quite sure. So definitely look at that up because it's pretty cool. All right, Jim, let's try and get another. What'd you say? Another offset circle inside the red. Okay, we'll try that. So since we're here, we're doing it. I'm going to aim for this little circle in the middle. I think that's what you're looking at. Go as slow as we can. It's almost like thread chasing. You gotta kind of pick your speed and know your movements that you're going to do to try and get it. And I want to get it offset from this off circle. So in other words, where this one is high, I want it to be low. So I want to start here and work this way. And I don't know if I can do that. Let's see. Boy, oh boy. I think I'm just going to do it by hand. I don't know if that worked very well. Kind of looks black. Yeah, interesting. Inside the red, if I do another one inside this big red circle, it's just going to muddy up what's already there. So the other thing we could do is, oops, wrong thing. We could put lines on this blue one in there, go on a different way, or little dots or something. That might look let's see, I got to look at this again to kind of see where it wants to go. All right, since we're going to erase this here pretty quick anyway, I'm going to do some red lines on the inside of the blue, and I'm going to make them just kind of parallel or perpendicular to that inner circle, just to jazz up the design. Well, okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so you get the idea. You play around with it. You trim it off, and you do another practice. You play around and trim it off, and do another practice. I guess you could erase it with sandpaper but I'm just going to cut it away. So as I said, we're going to do a top like this with the handle first. So we'll peel all this away for handle length, and we'll make a point down here. And let me, wrong way. I keep going the wrong way in that. I think I have to orient that differently. All right, what am I going to use? I've got a selection of skews and small spindle gouges, and we'll kind of see which one works best. So safety glasses. I've got my big Allen laser skew. Well, it's actually about 3/4 inch diameter with a radius edge, and skewed to the toe, from the heel to the toe, from the heel to the toe, and got that sort of sweep on it. So, oh, the other thing I've got to do. So I don't know if I think I had the thought in my head and I probably didn't complete it, but in doing this part, this painting part, I have the lathe in low gear. So that gets me this small enough or slow enough that I can do stuff on it. So I'm going to switch it over to high gear, and we'll kind of see the difference in the speeds. So let me bear with me a second as I do this. I'm going to turn the main power off, and so I can get in there and reaching over for the locking lever. And it's a bit awkward going from low to high. I think that's got it. Yep. All right. So now I'm on the lowest speed possible. And oh yeah, I got a safety switch on. There we go. Now this is a bit fast, right? It's probably twice as fast, probably 100 RPM or thereabouts. So that's a bit difficult to kind of get that stuff written on there. And so low speed to high speed, kind of where I need to go with this little project. So, all right, safety glasses back on. Any last questions? Let's make a top. All right, so back to high speed. This is a little piece of box elder held in a small chuck, and we'll start there, and we will do that one, and then this one there. All right. A little bit more speed, 2100. This is making the handle first. So we're just using the skew to peel away some material for a handle, maybe a bit longer. Right there, we'll use the skew, and there we go. You can see the end of that there. Not sure that's enough. Enough yet, but we'll take a look. Got a little bit of a red dot there. I'll maybe leave that. What is that noise? There's a certain noise with that cold belt. I think the belt is cold, but not sure. Just trying to figure out the size of the handle. And we'll trim off this face. This might be easier for me with a spindle gouge. Facing off with the skew isn't my hidden talent, let's tell you that. So, but it feels not too bad, just right down the handle there. So yeah, that looks pretty smooth. Nice. I gotta kind of lift this up a little bit now. We're missing some material there. So there we go. All right, so we've got a fairly decent face. I just need to finish that down there. So I'm gonna switch to my little spindle gouge. Get me down in there a little bit. And okay, up all up on comments. So using my bevel against that wall of wood to get down and make that transition down at the bottom, and maybe we'll thin that out, come back in and tighten that up. Just a little bit of a curve needed in here. That's pretty good. We'll leave it there. Feels pretty smooth. Now we've got to cut in here to create our top. So that's where if you're good at parting cuts with the skew, that you can V-cut all the way down there. I'm not the best at it, the V-cut stuff, but we'll do a little bit of it. Just stepping over every sort of half millimeter and taking a little bit down. Using my toe of my skew to do that. Working my way back up to the top of the top. I got to kind of figure out what I want, how steep a slope I want on this top. That's probably not steep enough, so I think I need to kind of start tucking that in a bit more. I'm not going to go all the way. We're going to paint the top first, but I want to kind of get a general shape figured out. Okay, that's a good place to stop. Now what we can do is kind of clean this up and make sure it's ready for painting. So I'm going to use my teardrop scraper, believe it or not, to kind of scrape this surface. Why would I use this? Well, why not? I've got it, and I'm pretty good with it. So I'm going to get down in there and just scrape that surface smooth. I got a little ridge right there. I can kind of see where it's a little bit colored. Let me put that into main focus. See that darker band right there? It's a little bit of grain raised. I can feel it. There's something there. Let's figure out what it is. Oh, and my stem is tore up pretty good. We have to redo that a little bit. Should have stopped and looked at that first. All right, I've got a little, it's pretty smooth. A little sanding will take that out. There's nothing there. It's just color of the grain. So let's see if we can fix that stem. I've taken it down pretty thin, but we're going to work on it with our skew to take it down, just seeing if I can reach everything here. I think I'm good there. So All right. Got fingers behind. Actually going up against the grain, but I think I'm okay doing that. That's a little tough. I think I got to get on top of it a bit more. This is a great skew practice if you haven't used your skew in a while. Pull it out and get some practice with it. That might be easier with my little spindle gouge. Using the wing of it here. Oops. Caught that tip up there. We'll fix that up. That feels better. Overhead. Let's take a closer look. All right, much better. Got a little bit of stuff up here I got to clean up. And let's see if we can take a cut downhill off this guy. This is with the grain, so this should clean that up quite nicely. All right, much better. I just got to clean up down here and my little catch down there. So if we look at this guy, that little divot in there has got to go away. So let's get back to fixing that. All right, exactly. Caps creation, Kirk, I think it is. Yeah, practice makes perfect. Yeah, you gotta practice this stuff. So, Lori, it's good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. You're up in Arkansas now, so good to have you here. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. All right, so we'll take this surface down again. I'll start with my skew and probably end with my spindle gouge or my scraper. Just want to see there's some little sounds of grain pulling out maybe. I just want to check. Yeah, right up here. So I'm going to try my spindle gouge and see if I get a better result. So I definitely felt better. That looks good. That looks like a good cut, no torn grain. So I can take my scraper bar and just scrape that again. Probably don't really need to, but we're gonna be consistent with how we treat these things. That feels nice. So now what we can do is paint that edge, and I've got one little fuzzy right in that corner. So right in the corner between the handle and the body, right there. So I've got a little bit of white paint here that we'll kind of use to paint this surface. I'm here. I might as well do it. I won't be able to turn this one, I don't think, um, today, but we've got others to practice on. So I've got a little bottle of um, just white craft paint like that. I've got a little brush, and I've got a phone book. I'm using an old phone book as a palette, if you will. So that's a trick my daughter taught me when she was painting and stuff in school. An old phone book is a great um, palette that's you can throw away and stuff. So yeah, just the white pages, and you got hundreds of pages of clean palette. There we go. We'll let that dry. But before we do that, we will finish turning the rest of the top here. So from an overhead view, we've got, I keep going the wrong way, our top there. And so that's what we'll be turning. I do want to go back this way just a little bit and turn that on. All right, so we're working down here now. I've got a bit of an edge here I can use to cut away and get the rest of this top done. So I got my skew. I'll start with that to where I was doing the same sort of thing I was doing. Taking this down. I'm going to just trim up this edge. Peel that away so I can see where it is. So now I got a nice edge to kind of look at and see. And I wonder, is this one any better? Not really. All right, so we're going to thin this down a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit with my spindle gouge just to kind of see the difference and see what works best. I'm going to change my angle here. To me, this is giving me a better finish. Could be the tool is sharper. That feels nice and smooth. I'm going to take the skew and attack this other side a little bit. And it's a little bit easier for me to get in here with the skew. If I wanted to get in here with the gouge, then I'm getting close to where I guess I could do it. This is a pretty thin gouge. So maybe we'll continue with the gouge. So the tricky part of this is parting this off down at the point and keeping that nice crisp point. What most tops want though is kind of a blunt point. If you have too sharp of a point, and this is where the gouge has a hard time getting in there because I'm now almost hitting the side of this with the gouge here. So this is where a skew does come in handy, but I can get it from this side a little bit, pretty close, and eat that away, catch my top. I got one more cut this way. Right there. There's the top. So we have our top. It's got a little bit of torn grain there. I kind of took a little bit too wild of a push on that last little bit, but this is where we can kind of, and I'm just going to use the side of my skew here to kind of pull that off. Of course, I would have, that paint is not quite dry. I'm getting my fingers all white. Would have sanded the back side of this before I parted this off. Sorry, I'm kind of off camera here with that, but does it spin? Let's see. I think I'm going to have to take a little bit of sandpaper to that tip. I've got a little strips of 240 over here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it on that small piece of real estate on my lathe bed. There we go. That spins. It's out of focus way down there, but I don't have anything. Don't have anything to spin it on. All right, block of wood. There we go. So you can see having the top exposed as you turn it this way allows you to decorate the top with and have that more visible than this part down here. That you can also decorate that side, but when it's there, it's hard to get. It would be like this. It's hard to get into that area with any decoration. So I find it easier this way, and it's just another way of doing it. So not the only way, but I don't see many people doing it this way. So I thought I'd show it. So let's get this piece off the chalk, and we got a couple of blanks here to kind of play with some color and do some of that limit trip stuff. So let's catch up on the chat here. So Duncan says, "Q, what's wrong with 80 grit abrasive?" Nothing. Nothing. That works as well. So let's see, who has phone books anymore? Yeah, well, this one is probably 10 years old. So, but if you do have them, or you see an old one being thrown out, save it for a good, paint palette. So I'm looking for my chuck key. I'm still looking for things around this lathe, and we'll save that little chunk of wood for something. So here's a piece of, it's actually flame box elder, but there was no flame in this stuff, so I had it chopped up and using it for, I think I did mark chuck 1, 3, just trying to get it into order. So I marked chuck 1 or jaw 1 to try and make sure we kind of get it somewhat centered. And let's see. And that's running nice and true. All right. All right, so now we can go and do a bit more playing with this one and the other one I have. So let's take a look at the end view here. And now I'm a little high. So it's been painted. I got a little bit of 220. Tony, you'll probably recognize this purple stuff. This is, I don't know, some deal we got from Vince over at Vince's sand. I forget Vincent's. He's a sandpaper guy. I forget his store now. Somebody help me out. Throw a link in the chat. So just a little bit of sanding on that. Try and take out some of that unevenness and that swirl pattern from the paintbrush. And get a nice smooth surface. That looks decent enough for me. And again, I'm only using the white for contrast. For if you had a dark wood, kind of like this cherry, which is quite dark, then that might be something where you'd want to paint that kind of thing. So, all right, just getting my hands in place. So maybe we'll start with red and do a red sort of off-center circle. I gotta change speeds. So a little bit inconvenient to do this, but it's not that difficult to do. And there we go. My locking handle is getting in my way. So back down to low speed, just so I can chase this marker a bit easier. Is that in the grooves? Feels and looks like it's in the grooves. All right. Nice low speed. There we go. All right. So back to the red marker, and we'll do a little inner circle. I'm going backwards, aren't I? I'll go the right way. The drag on my marker was a little bit. I'll just color that in. Leave a little center. And then do a little. That's a little cardioid pattern. It's a little off. It's supposed to be more of a circle, but as you get better at drawing those, sometimes they get better and better. So I do that one. Maybe I'll do one in blue and the opposite sort of. So I want to start to do it opposite. I want to start where opposite side of this one. So I want to start the off center circle here and go out. So it'll go up here. And so this is all about eye coordination, timing, and chasing that circle, if you will. I did it right over top, didn't I? Well, that sucks. We can do a few more of those. Maybe we'll do a couple. That was not successful. Although it does look kind of wild when it spins. All right. I'm getting mesmerized. So sorry about that, folks. I'm just going to draw a little bit of that back in by hand. And that one looks fine. So then we'll go and do some marks out here. All right, you kind of get the idea. And if I had a much bigger palette, maybe finer line markers, I might be able to get a bit more intricate with the design. But that's, that's one possibility. Let's take a look at what I do. I put it over there. Let's try one more. And then it might work better with fine tip markers. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good call, Kirk. So if you have them and practice and these ones don't work, so here's a piece of sycamore that I've prepped. And let's see, get that sandpaper again. Just going to turn on the dust collector a little bit here. Switch the gates. Vince's Wooden Wonders. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. I couldn't remember what the full name was. So this is 240 or 220 grit foam backed sandpaper that Vince He had a special on. So that looks pretty good. Some of the streaks there, I think, are the grain pattern showing in on the end of the sycamore. So let's try that. This is a bit bigger, so we'll have maybe a bit better opportunity to do sort of an offset circle. And let's see, Duncan is asking, have you used acrylic paint pens or Sharpie pens? No, I haven't. This is you're learning with me. I'm just trying to figure it out at the same time, Duncan. So it's a technique that you watch at Limit Trip on Instagram or Facebook, or not Facebook, YouTube. Then you can kind of get the idea of what he does, and I'm just trying to experiment on this surface, which is a bit more difficult to deal with than an erasable, whiteboard material. So, okay, so speed all the way down. Maybe we want to go just a little bit faster on this one. We're a little off center, but that's fine. Not too concerned about that. So maybe about that speed. I don't know what that is. Using the pointy tip of the marker, the wedge marker, and we'll just make a center circle, and then we'll make a maybe another one, and then we'll go off of that one. That one was pretty successful. You got more real estate, you can kind of make it go off a little bit better. Yeah, so that looks kind of cool. So, and then one of the other things I liked what he did was the some of those race lines, if you will. So I'll do some red. It's all about timing here. Trying to figure out when I want to pick those up. Yep, that was on top. All right, let's turn the lathe off and we'll do some little blocky things. This is another one he kind of does where he goes, I have to move my tool rest to get my hand in the right place. On this offset circle, I'm going to do some designs here in red. A little bit inside and a little bit outside. Not quite as successful, but still kind of fun. Let's darken that whole interior. A little bit red. All right, that would make a good spinning top if you saw that pattern on the top of your top. If I widen out a little bit, that's not going to widen. All right, do my hand wrong way. If you did that on the top of your top, that might look kind of fun. All right, I think that's all the samples I have. So this one, I might jam chuck this and be able to to paint that in there. So that would be fun to do. And then let me go overhead. We've got a handful down here. Chuck key. There's sort of the three that we did. And I don't have big enough hands to hold all that. Oh, just barely. No, we don't. There they go. They're gone. And I think that's it for me today. So anyway, I hope you have got a little bit of inspiration from that, and give it a try. I've got a bunch of blanks now that I'm going to stick back on the lathe and make some tops and actually do some designs on ones. So that'll be fun to do. I hope you had fun with me today. I hope you got some inspiration. Everybody have a great weekend. And this guy's about to fall, maybe. Otherwise, stay safe, be happy, and be kind to one another. And we'll see you soon. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. And hope you all had fun. So thank you all. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jim, Tony, David, Cindy. Thanks very much. No juggling for me today. Thanks, Shelley. And hope you had a good time with this. So take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.